Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and I'm here with an interesting video. The other day, the strobist pointed out, or somebody pointed out to him, that there was somebody trying to crowdsource their new D4s, meaning a professional photographer was looking, or is looking, for people to fund his new camera. Now, he's not asking them to just give him money so that he can do business. He's offering things in return, but some people have gone overboard again, like they normally do online, and are trying to say that the guy's trying to mooch off of people, and if you're a professional, you'll earn it, and all of those things. And I read what is here, and yes, it can be perceived a certain way. And what you're going to hear after I'm done doing this introduction is a phone call with Stephen. I got him on the phone. He tweeted back and forth. He wanted me to hear his side. And so we sat there and we had a discussion. So you're going to hear the audio of the phone call as we had it, the full uncut with his permission. And I'm also going to discuss this further on the next FroKnowsPhoto Raw Talk, which will be episode number 76. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about it, but I figure I should do that here as well. Let's just break it down. He is using GoFundMe, which is what we use to fund Jalil's wheelchair, and he does have his wheelchair now. And let's just read what it says. It says, buying a new camera every 2 years is an expense that pro photographers have to take on to keep up. No, they don't take any better pictures, but when you take 100,000 images a year, they do wear out. Help us get the latest and greatest and to maintain our edge in the Orlando market. We are not asking for a handout. The products listed all have value, save maybe our gratefulness. Okay, so that's what he's saying. Let me reiterate this fact one more time. For anybody doing anything online today, whether it's making YouTube videos or doing something like this, it is all about perception. How are the words that you're using being perceived by somebody else? Now, if he came on here and didn't start off with these two lines saying, buying a new camera every 2 years is an expense that pro photographers have to take on to keep up. Now, before I talk about that, let's see what he's giving you if you're going to donate. Ultimate level. Get our Eternal Love wedding package, including a $2,000 album. There's two of those. That's $5,600. That's good. That's probably what he charges, or I believe what he said he charges for doing a wedding package. So he's giving you something, and you're getting something out of it. You're basically paying for his services through the GoFundMe site, and then he's turning around and buying the camera there. Want our old D4s? Select this and get the camera and then extra battery. This will never use it. It was never used as a primary camera and only has 18,000 clicks. Now, there's where the perception throws off. You're talking about 100,000 clicks a year. Well, technically, the D4, the D3, the D3s, the D4, they used to be 250,000. Now the D4s is saying you're going to get 400,000 actuations out of it. So that can be perceived one way by people that, well, maybe you're not using the camera to the fullest extent. You're going to hear Stephen talk about being a pro and why he uses those cameras and wants to upgrade. Now, there's other things that he's offering. This is all fine. Offering things are great, but it ultimately comes down to perception and how people are reading your words. And your words are what people can go on, and then they jump to conclusion mats all day long and come up with things. If I was to do this, I wouldn't say buying a new camera every 2 years is an expense of that a pro photographer has to do, because it's your job. You are a professional. You need to make money. I would offer the packages through GoFundMe with the ultimate goal of doing whatever you want with the money, you know, to buy the other gear. But in business, I think it looks interesting if you're going to put out there that I want to buy a new camera, so please fund this so I can have the newest camera so we can keep our edge. Saying things like, so we can keep our edge, well, you know, what's stopping somebody else with a lot of money from buying the same camera? That doesn't mean that they have an edge. I don't buy wedding photographers, or I wouldn't hire somebody based off of strictly the gear. Of course, gear's important, I believe, when it comes to shooting weddings, when it comes to having backup gear and knowing that your gear is reliable. But if somebody did a fantastic job with a Rebel and their work speaks for itself, then I wouldn't really have a problem with it. I'd be a little skeptical, but if the work proves itself, then they can go for it. So again, it's all about perception. I would not say buying a new camera every 2 years is expensive. We need to keep our edge. I wouldn't do that. It's like, hey, wedding photographer here, this is a great opportunity to use crowdsourcing in a different way. We are a great wedding photographer whatever studio here in Orlando. We love working with you. We want to explore new avenues to give you an opportunity to hire us. And by doing so, that allows us to pick up some extra things that can become useful during a wedding. We already have all the professional gear. We have X, Y, and Z that we use all the time. This just gives us one more piece of the puzzle. And I know I said I'd go into this in more detail, and I guess I'm doing it here, but that gives us one more piece of the puzzle to make your pictures even better. Here's what I do with the D4s. Or when we get the D4s, I'm going to use my D4 wirelessly and then remotely put it somewhere else to capture some interesting video or some interesting photos. Or I'm going to pick up a GoPro that's going to give us some extra angles. It's just, that's how you spin it. It's all about perception and spinning it so that how it's perceived. That's just how I would do it. Not flat out doing it this way, and I got to take that phone call. All right, so now you're going to listen to the phone call that we had. I called him, asked him for permission to record it just so that we could hear what Stephen had to say. That's what you're going to hear now, and then I'll let you go. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya. All right, so take me through it.
Oh, this is just one of those things where I had actually gone and, purchased a camera, and I was talking to one of my clients, and they're like, so, it sounds like you got some new gear coming in. Are you going to expand what you take on, because I know you have a limited number of weddings you do every year. And I'm like, yeah, I'll have to take on a couple more to pay for it. And she had just got done with this whole crowdsourcing thing. And she's like, why don't you give this a try? And now you've seen the outcome from that. So I think that, it's just one of those, this is an alternative marketing method. Why don't you give this a try?
Right.
And I haven't seen a downside other than from photographers, which I don't really understand.
Well, the way that I look at it, when you talk about marketing and you talk about branding and you talk about, to me, it's a perception thing, and it's in the wording. It's not in the act of crowdfunding. I've done crowdfunding we've got this reader, Jaleel, who's a wedding photographer in a wheelchair, and we got him funded for a new wheelchair. So it's different. I think the way that I read it is that it becomes that perception issue. You're basically saying, well, I'm not going to put words in your mouth because I heard what you said, but the way that I perceive it when I read it, and I look at angles of everything before I try to comment, but the way that it looks to me is, hey, we need to upgrade every 2 years. It's hard to do that because it's very expensive. But as a business owner, it's the cost of doing business to be able to afford the pro gear. And then I also read that every 2 years you need to upgrade. We put 100,000 clicks on it, when it's like, well, you don't have to upgrade every 2 years. You will get 400,000 clicks out of, well, they're rated for 400,000 shots out of the D4 and the D4s. So it's just, that's the way, it's the perception. It all comes down to wording online.
Sure. I mean, I can certainly see that, but I don't see where any of that another business owner's place. It's like Target commenting on how they don't like Walmart doing business, and it's like, well,
the way that I look at it,
don't go to Target, don't go to Walmart if those are your choices there.
Sure. Well, the reason I would comment on it is because I'm helping readers out there who may want to do something in the same situation, and there may be a slightly different way of wording it if they choose that they want to go down this route.
Oh, and I think I would choose to word things completely differently if I chose to do this again at all.
Right. Well, that's it. I mean, it's all in. I mean, I see this every day when I do stuff myself. If I word something wrong in a video, not even in a video, in just the title, if something is perceived a certain way, people don't even watch it before they comment. They just start jumping down your throat. So I've had to learn, and don't always get it right. I never get it all. Go ahead.
I just got this feeling that people thought this was hey, donate money to me and get nothing in return for it. And I'm like, well, there's a whole bunch of things there that really do have value. I sell those every day.
Sure.
Every single one of those things are list price for what I sell them for, not charging any more for it.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if you want to buy this particular thing today, this is what I'm going to use it to pay for. Something I've already paid for, but this is what it's going for, and this is why I'm taking on 4 more weddings this year than I did last year.
Sure.
And maybe every other year I do that. I've got a successful business. I understand that whole thing. People's thing of gear doesn't matter. Well, that's fine. You can go out there and shoot it with a GoPro if you want to.
Well, no, I agree with you there. I upgrade every single 2 years now.
I've got a certain minimum standard that I want for my my people to shoot, and I want to meet the doctor who's who's taking his pictures on at least level ground when he comes in with his Mark III or his D4.
Sure.
Just because I don't want to have that conversation, and the difference in cost between a $2,000 body and a $6,000 body when you're doing this for a living is really not that much.
Right.
So
no, I fully understand that. I fully understand that because my D4 is sold as soon as my D4s lands, hopefully in 2 days. So I get that as a working professional. You want to have part of the reason of having that pro body is that 99% of the people in the world won't have that when they come in. And when you're a working professional, there's a different aspect to upgrading each time. But no, I fully hear you. And go ahead.
And I've got a D4 and it becomes my backup. My D3s was a backup and it wasn't even used that much. Like I said, I think I checked it because somebody said, well, if you got 250,000 clicks on it, I'm like, well, no, my backup has got 18,000 clicks on it. And my current D4 I think has less than 50, and it'll get regulated to where when I sell it, it'll probably have less than 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I do 100,000 clicks doesn't mean it's all on one body. I've got 3 or 4 of them. So,
sure. No, I get it.
So,
but the reason people make a big deal out of it is because that's the internet today, and they don't get fully knowledgeable about it. If they're going based off of what's there, then obviously they formulate an opinion, and it's nobody's place to really say what is right and what is wrong, but people try to do that now all day long.
I had people email me that I should put my head in an oven.
But that's, look, I've been dealing with that since I started YouTube, and now I've got 300,000 subscribers, and there was a point in the time that within the first couple months where you start to read all the comments and you really take it personally, and then you just have to go, well, you know what, these people they don't get it, so you just have to, as much as you don't want to, you have to just ignore it.
Right, exactly. So that was my point, and my pushback is that I'm not asking for something for nothing. There's a lot of people there that didn't even read what the options there are, and I get you tweeting something out is not worth $10. Well, maybe it's not to you, but maybe it is to a wedding planner here in Orlando. Maybe it's not. What do I know?
Sure.
Right? But we get those kind of relationships all the time where people think some things are not worth any value because it's not worth any value to them. You're right. Maybe you're tweeting something out that doesn't have any value. I have people here who think it does, but I removed that. Somebody suggested it. I took it off. I take people's suggestions, but I just wanted it to get out there that it's not like I'm asking for a gift from the community at large, and certainly not from other photographers. You got a lot of people who do make their living off of other photographers. The Strobus being one of them. And that's how they make their living. I'm not coming down on them for doing that, so I don't understand how this is any different, from selling a product.
Okay.
So,
got it.
And that's it. That's pretty much it. And I haven't actually followed your stuff now, but now I've looked at your stuff and I may continue to do that. So who knows?
Thanks. Well, yeah, I wasn't going to sit here and bash you when I went live. I was only going to, and what I will do and what I'll be putting in the segment when I talk about it tomorrow on our podcast is more of the perception and the way that things are worded. I have no problem. Sure. I have no problem with anybody trying to crowdsource something when they give something in return, which is what you're offering. It just comes down to the wording, and that's
right.
Yeah, and that's probably what people did is they just read the intro part of it, and they didn't just you're not a full-time guy that does internet marketing.
Right. Well, exactly. And I'm sure if I had a marketing team, they'd be like, that sucks.
Maybe.
Okay. But, I'm not to the point of having a full-time marketing team yet, and I don't know how many photographers really are.
Yeah.
So.
No, I get it. And it's all in, I think we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't want you to go out there and go, look at this guy. What kind of idiot does he think he is? Think he can get something for nothing?
That it was.
Which
Yep.
seems
Nope.
to-
I'm
which
not that
seems
guy.
to- well, it seems like there were a lot of those guys out there. So
There
before
are.
you,
Well, there's a lot of people that want to stir the pot, and they want to just, this.
and there.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I don't know where I was going, but
Well, my thing was, there's somebody there. Look, I'm working 2 full-time jobs, and being a photographer just to get the gear, and I didn't respond to them. But I'm like, wow, you really are doing it wrong. I hope you're not taking hurt that because I get a camera you don't. That's not the way the universe works. Just because Donald Trump has $1 billion doesn't mean you can't make 100,000. That's so I just don't understand that mentality at all from this, and it's a shocker to me, kind of an eye opener. So
sure. No, I think we're good, and it's all right if I put up
All right.
the audio.
yeah, everything's cool. I think so, and
Okay.
we'll see where it goes from there. I appreciate you at least listening to my side. So
No problem at all.
all right, well, thanks a lot.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right. See you.
Bye.